Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight to your news at 9.
We're learning more about a string of murders that left 3 dead in 2 different counties. I'm Zach Dodge with the latest.
Plus, a family who narrowly survived a house fire last year meets with the heroes who made sure they were safe.
Former security officials say they were given bad intelligence ahead of January's riots and were left unprepared. I'm Lauren Blanchard. What we learned during a hearing on Capitol Hill coming up next.
Doug Eddy is weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. The suspect in a double homicide in Avila, Missouri is in custody, but claims he committed the crime because of how his girlfriend died. KOAM Zach Dodge has the latest.
Next thing you know, we start seeing one officer, another officer, ambulance, fire truck, and then there was just so many officers over there I couldn't even count them all.
That's what Avila residents saw on Sunday after a double murder left 2 dead in the small town.
It's such a small community. You know, everybody knows everybody. You wouldn't think something like that would happen out here in this little town.
On Sunday, Jasper County deputies found 34-year-old Mason McClure and 34-year-old Nicole Hodges dead in this garage. They had been shot to death.
Monday morning, about 4:30 a.m., a suspect in that crime, Kevin Johnson, was arrested.
But to fully understand what allegedly happened, you have to go to Newton County. On Saturday, 25-year-old Briley O'Banion was found dead in a ditch in rural Newton County. Investigators say she had been suffocated and then her body dumped and set on fire.
At that point, we began backtracking where the victim had been. That's always a good way to start, to find out who was with the person last.
Newton County deputies say they then started looking for McClure and Hodges as persons of interest in the case, but they were dead in Avila.
Until that happened, until that discovery in Avila, we had really no indication that the two situations were related.
According to a probable cause affidavit filed in Jasper County, Johnson admitted to detectives he killed McClure and Hodges because they killed O'Banion, his girlfriend. He claims he had gone to the house in Avila to see O'Banion, and when he got there, McClure told him he and Hodges had killed her. So Johnson says he shot McClure and Hodges with a 9mm handgun he had taken from his dad's. He's now being held at the Jasper County Jail on 2 first-degree murder charges, but the investigation continues.
Right now, the biggest thing is to try to determine where our victim actually died at. The only person we have anything to go on is the person right now that's been charged with the crime. Obviously, the other 2 can't speak for themselves.
And in Jasper County, they're trying to see if Johnson's story checks out and if anyone else was involved.
So far, no indication that there is other individuals involved, but we want to make sure of that as we move along through this investigation.
In Jasper and Newton counties, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Again, Johnson is currently being held in Jasper County on 2 counts of first-degree murder with no bond. A year ago today, Joplin police, firefighters, and a security company employee helped save a Joplin family whose home became engulfed in flames. And today, as we're seeing right there, that family met the heroes who saved them. The family met with Joplin's fire and police chiefs and the ADT emergency dispatcher who alerted authorities of the fire. That dispatcher flew in from New York for the reunion.
Get to meet the person behind that phone call that happened that day. It's amazing that we get to meet that person.
As a reward for their efforts, ADT donated $5,000 to both the Joplin Police and Fire Departments and gave Heather the highest honor the company awards. Good for them. Doug Eddy taking a swig right now, wetting his whistle before he gets going. It was good again to be able to smell fresh air, go outside and enjoy getting that fresh air.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day for us today. Huge warm-up. We started at 38, 73 for an afternoon high. Average high is 53, record high is 83. So we're only 10 degrees shy of the record high set back in 2017. We do have some clouds which are slowly increasing, and it looks like we'll continue to see that as we go through the overnight hours. Very weak little wave is just to our west. You can see a little area of low pressure out in the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, and a little cold front that is going to roll through. That will give some clouds tonight and maybe even a random shower. But temperature is still pretty good. Most of us holding into the upper 50s to near 60 degrees with our nice little southerly winds, which have been kicking in. We do have some changes over the next few days. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Tap water is restored to people in Carterville, Missouri, but there is a boil water advisory there in Carterville until further notice. It's been some time. Last week, a water main break disconnected the tap water for many people there. The Children's Center in Joplin recently dealt with some water damage in one of their interview rooms, but members of the community stepped up to help. The Jasper Newton County chapter of 100 Women Who Care donated $2,700 to help offset the costs of the repairs.
I can't think of one single time, even through the pandemic, when our community hasn't stepped up and reached out to us, which is even greater than us reaching out to them, reached out to us and say, what do you need? How can we help?
The center provides victim assistance services to sexually abused and physically abused children. Property owners along Joplin's Connecticut Avenue reviewed the latest proposed designs for the city's project to widen the street. They saw the designs at a public meeting held today. The project would widen Connecticut Avenue to 5 lanes from Murphy Boulevard to 30th Street.
When I was a teenager, I remember driving on Connecticut to avoid driving on Range Line because it was a lot busier. So now when my son turns 16, he'll be able to do the same thing, only on a lot nicer Connecticut.
Project is being paid for through a 10-year sales tax approved by voters in 2004 and renewed for another 10 years in 2014. In a hearing on Capitol Hill, the message from former security officials who were in charge during the January 6th riot says they were not given the right intelligence to prepare for what the day would hold eventually. Fox's Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. with more.
This was a violent, coordinated attack with a loss of life could have been much worse.
4 security officials who were in charge during the January 6th attack on the Capitol appeared for the first time during a joint Senate committee hearing into what went wrong. They say they were not given good intelligence. They thought it was going to be a normal MAGA rally.
A clear lack of accurate and complete intelligence across several federal agencies contributed to this event, and not poor planning by the United States Capitol Police.
3 of the officials, the former House and Senate sergeants at arms and the former Capitol Police chief, all resigned in the wake of the riot that left 5 people dead, including 1 Capitol Police officer.
None of the intelligence we received predicted what actually occurred.
The acting D.C. police chief says one of the biggest failures of the day was the delay in getting help from the National Guard.
I was surprised at the reluctance to immediately send the National Guard to the Capitol grounds.
Lawmakers also want answers as to why the U.S. Capitol grounds remain a fortress.
Do you have any threat assessment you've seen that there's a reason that we have the National Guard here today?
I have not personally seen anything that would suggest that.
The plan is for the elevated number of troops to stay in D.C. through at least mid-March, possibly longer.
Do not disturb, no trespassing. This is the public's building, and the public should be available.
On Wednesday, senators will be briefed on the current security situation at the Capitol, and soon senators will hear more on what went wrong in January on the federal level. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Twice a year, the head of the Federal Reserve is required by law to provide an update to Congress on the state of the U.S. economy. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has the latest on what Chairman Jerome Powell had to say nearly a year into the coronavirus pandemic.
In his semi-annual update to lawmakers, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned the pandemic is still wreaking havoc on the U.S. economy.
The economic recovery remains uneven and far from complete, and the path ahead is highly uncertain.
The central bank chair also suggested the Fed sees no need to increase its extremely low interest rates anytime soon.
The path of the economy continues to depend significantly on the course of the virus and the measures undertaken to control its spread.
This comes as lawmakers work to pass another round of stimulus relief, with a House vote expected later this week.
What we need to do now is put our foot on the gas to end the pandemic as quickly as possible, get our economy back to normal, and repair the damage that's been done.
Democrats are proposing a $1,400 check for people earning less than $75,000 a year, another $1,400 for dependents, plus funding for schools, vaccine distribution, and increasing the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Meantime, Republican Senators Mitt Romney and Tom Cotton are introducing legislation calling for a gradual minimum wage increase to $10.
$15 an hour is simply too high in many parts of the country. We think this is a constructive step that hopefully Democrats and Republicans can get behind.
Chairman Powell will testify one more time Wednesday, this time before House lawmakers. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our four-state heroes. Doyle Beckman joined the U.S. Army back in 1966, spending time in Vietnam and Iraq. We are proud to thank and salute Sergeant First Class Doyle Beckman, tonight's four-state hero. Doug Hattie's up next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. The McCauley boys earn a shot to win their first district title since 1991. Going to have those details in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a fantastic Tuesday for us today. Big warm up in temperatures as we did go into lower 70s for afternoon highs, which is well above our average high and then also what we have been over the past couple weeks. Looking outside, great shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but plenty of sunshine throughout the daytime hours. But check this out. This is crazy. So last Tuesday morning, we were minus 15. This afternoon, we hit 73 degrees. That is almost a 90-degree temperature swing, which is absolutely crazy from last week's low to today's highs. In fact, we've been climbing for about the past 9 days. You can go back to last Sunday. We were 5. We were 1 on Monday, 13 on Tuesday. We get into the 20s. Then we hit 30 and then 40s, 50s, 70s. So a pretty good climb. Average high, though, is 53 degrees. Still, temperatures are pretty good. 63 in Grove, 63 in Anderson. As you work farther north, it gets a little bit colder. Pittsburgh at 54, and then we're down to 47 in Fort Scott. But we do have some cooler air, which is working in. We've had these kind of strong southerly winds all day long for us today. But we do have a cold front just to our west, and that's going to roll in later on tonight. It's going to give us some clouds, maybe a random sprinkle or shower late tonight into tomorrow morning. It's a very weak, fast-moving wave that is going to slide across the northern parts of the plains. So this wave is going to pull out. A secondary wave is dropping into the Pacific Northwest. In fact, our pattern actually gets kind of active over the next several days. Here comes the front over the next several hours. Again, I think we'll have some clouds with it, maybe a random shower or two, especially along and south of Interstate 44. This rotates through, and then partly sunny skies for us tomorrow. But it is going to be cooler than what we did see today, but still not that bad. 39 to start, 48 by noon, high temp of 52. We're going to have the north winds at about 10 to 15, so still a little bit on the breezy side. Partly cloudy skies for us tomorrow night. We drop back near freezing, and then we'll have partly sunny skies as we head into Thursday. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but still not bad as we go into the upper 40s for highs. We have a weak system on Friday. This is going to be late Friday, and Friday night we should get a few random showers. This rotates through. Saturday looks fantastic. Another chance for rain starts to push in as we head into late Sunday and Sunday night, and then by Monday morning it's gone, but then Monday night another wave comes in. This could be rain, possibly over to snow. So it is going to be fairly active as we go through the next, about 2 weeks, all the way through about the middle of March. 52 for us tomorrow, 48 on a Thursday, 53 on Friday. Look at Saturday, fantastic, 60 degrees, rain on Sunday, and then rain mixing with some snow by Tuesday.
Yeah, today the air, the ambient air, if you want to call it that, was nice. It was beautiful, as we've been talking about, but that wind seemed kind of chilly still, you know?
Yeah, it was just nice to be this
outside.
warm. It felt like spring.
Yeah, it did. See you in a little bit. Doug, thanks so much. Coming up, pausing to remember COVID-19 patients.
New cases and hospitalizations are in sharp decline as the country marks 500,000 deaths from COVID-19. I'm Steve Harrigan in Atlanta. That story ahead.
If you're thinking about
The Area Agency on Aging in Southwest Missouri is helping the state of Missouri register people to get a coronavirus vaccine. The agency is registering people as part of a partnership with the state's Department of Health and Senior Services. Service is available for people 65 years and older, and adults under 65 with disabilities in Barton, Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties without access to the internet.
They appreciate talking to a human,
A lot of times they do get a recording when they try to get on different lists, and so when we call them back, they're very grateful that they get to hear a live person.
The agency says they have already registered more than 150 people. It's an ominous milestone. The nation marks 500,000 deaths from COVID-19. But we're still seeing big declines in hospitalizations, deaths, and new cases. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Atlanta.
Politicians and public health officials marking 500,000 deaths just over 1 year after the first COVID-19 cases were detected in the U.S. It is a sobering milestone, underscoring the severity of the outbreak. But it comes as new cases and hospitalizations are declining significantly. We're now averaging about 2,000 COVID-related deaths a day, the lowest number since early December.
First it was the cases, and the deaths usually follow about a month later, and that happened. So our case numbers started ticking down a month ago.
Most doctors say the positive trends are due to a combination of masking, social distancing, and vaccines. About 6% of the country has been fully vaccinated so far, and while that is resulting in a decline in transmissions, governors still say they are facing major supply shortages.
There's not enough doses. There's not enough vaccines to accommodate the need and demand. Just at this site, they're running about a third of capacity.
There are also growing concerns about new COVID-19 strains. The FDA says vaccines should be effective against these variants, but also issued new guidance telling manufacturers any vaccine adjustments should be tested in small-scale studies like the annual flu shot.
We remain worried. The continued spread of more transmissible variants could jeopardize the progress we have made in the past month if we let down our guard.
Pfizer says it is stepping up its manufacturing in an effort to reach its March goal of 13 million doses a week. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Researchers in France are working on a rapid coronavirus test that can be plugged into a smartphone right there. The test is the size of a large USB stick and can deliver results in about 10 minutes. Users are required to submit a nasal swab sample, which is then placed in the testing apparatus and inserted into your phone, like you see right there. The test is currently in its preliminary stage, and so far, 300 samples used on the device have shown a 90% accuracy rate. The prototype will now enter a 3-month trial, which will include more than 1,000 subjects. Just ahead, we're learning more about a scary in-flight emergency.
The NTSB ramps up its investigation into a fiery engine failure on a Boeing plane. I'm Dan Springer. The details coming up.
NTSB ramps up its investigation into a fiery engine explosion on a Boeing plane. This coming as people in a Colorado neighborhood find debris from the aircraft. Fox News correspondent Dan Springer has more.
The investigation into Saturday's mid-air explosion on a Boeing 777 plane is focusing on the aircraft's hollow fan blades. The blades are unique to the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine. The NTSB saying Monday night a fractured blade found in the engine showed signs of metal fatigue. A preliminary investigation finding the blade fractured the one next to it as the engine broke apart.
The fan blades are what, if you were to look immediately into the front of the engine, those are the blades that you would see just standing on the ground looking into the engine.
The first fractured blade was flown to Pratt & Whitney's headquarters Monday night for further examination. Boeing says there were 69 777s with this particular engine in service. 59 others were in storage. Boeing has called for the suspension of the fleet.
Our mission is to understand not only what happened, but why it happened so that we can keep it from happening again.
United Flight 328 was heading from Denver to Honolulu. When the right engine failed, the pilot called for an immediate return to the airport. As the plane was dropping, debris fell down on neighborhoods in North Colorado. No one on the ground was injured, but homeowners say they're still finding pieces of the aircraft.
People will probably be finding pieces into the springtime. Perhaps something fell in a bush and they go out to trim the hedges.
Saturday's explosion is another hit for Boeing. In 2019, its 737 MAX planes were grounded for more than a year after 2 deadly crashes. In Seattle, Dan Springer, Fox News.
Gonna check out a stampede out west, not on the plains, the Great Plains, but in the ocean. This next story out of Oklahoma City is extra adorable. Look closely. This is little Skipper. She's got 2 extra legs and an extra tail. The pup has a congenital disorder along with the extra tail and legs. Little Skipper was born with 2 pelvic regions. to lower urinary tracts, and to reproductive systems. Isn't that something? Her family says she's learning to crawl and is doing just great. Skipper, cute little girl. All right, passengers on a whale watching boat got a neat surprise when they saw dozens of dolphins jumping in and out of the water. This happened off the coast of Newport Beach, California this week. Officially, it's called a dolphin stampede. Experts say this kind of behavior can happen for any number of reasons. Dolphins may be avoiding predators, of course, hunting for food, or just meeting up with their pals. How you doing? What's new? Think if you were on a boat seeing it, how awesome that would be. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
The Joplin School Board considers returning high school students to class full-time. I'm Chris Warner with what the plan entails and how parents and students feel about it.
Plus, Tyson Foods giving more incentives for workers to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Joplin School Board met tonight and voted to get students at the high school back in class full-time. KOM's Chris Warner has more on the plan and how some students and parents feel about it.
The Joplin School Board discussed the proposal to get students back to class before unanimously voting to approve it Tuesday night. JHS Principal Dr. Stephen Gilbert developed the plan to get students back.
We feel like things have turned around and vaccines out and our numbers are down and you know it's time to get kids back.
At the start of the school year, Dr. Gilbert is the one who pushed for the AB schedule the high school has been utilizing before school started. Now, we spoke with one parent who has 2 freshmen at JHS, and she isn't convinced it's safe enough for kids to return to class.
Yes, I understand the COVID numbers are down right now, but that's also because of a lot of the precautions that we've been taking, masks and social distancing. I don't see how it's going to be possible to do that with that many kids.
JHS junior Grace Goebel has similar concerns.
COVID-19 wise, if we're looking to slow or stop the spread, I think it's really dangerous to go back to adding 2,400 students in the same building.
JHS senior Connor Winters has a different take on the situation.
I think at this point it's safer than it has been, but I still think they should wait until next year because we don't have very much longer to go.
Dr. Gilbert says he feels the plan to return is solid and the school is ready to welcome students back over the next few weeks.
I believe if we can keep them safe, that I feel like that school is important enough that kids need to be here.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
You can find the full plan in this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Joplin school officials today broke ground on a new addition to Kelsey Norman Elementary. The expansion includes an 8,900 square foot building, providing additional space for the growing student population. Work started today and is expected to end in October.
We simply do not have room for our ancillary programs, our special education classrooms. We've been trying to make do in trailers, closets, doubled up on areas such as stages, and we've just been trying to cram things into every pocket.
This new expansion is the 3rd addition made to Kelsey Norman Elementary. The others were a library and a gym. U.S. home prices surged at the fastest pace in nearly 7 years in December, fueled by low mortgage rates and Americans moving from urban apartments to houses in the suburbs. The National Case-Shiller Index shows home prices climbed 10.4% in December from a year earlier. The year-end jump was the biggest since April of 2014. Home prices climbed the most in Phoenix, also in Seattle. As the nation hurries to vaccinate people, Tyson Foods announces additional incentives for their employees to get vaccinated. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky takes a closer look.
Tyson Foods is providing an incentive for their employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Not only are they offering free vaccines at their plants, they're also compensating their workers who wish to be vaccinated elsewhere. Derek Burleson, a spokesperson for Tyson Foods, says it comes down to convenience.
Making sure that our team members know that we want them to get vaccinated wherever that is.
He says anyone who wishes to be vaccinated off-site will be compensated up to 4 hours of regular pay. Robbie Waldo, a Knoll Tyson employee of 3 years, says he loves the idea of being vaccinated at his workplace.
I don't have to go nowhere else. I think we're going to do it right here.
Waldo hasn't gotten his vaccine yet, but says he is excited for when it does arrive.
They were having it shipped here, and they set up a special medical deal in a trailer, and they're going to do it all in there. It's state of the art. It looks nice.
He adds that the company's vaccine incentive and their response to the virus has helped him feel safe.
I feel safer in there than I did walking around any of these stores.
He says he and his friends who work with him are feeling hopeful from the vaccine incentive.
We're all geared up, ready to get it.
Burleson says this incentive is just the next step in Tyson's response to the pandemic.
Our number one priority has been how can we keep our team members healthy? How can we keep them safe? And providing the vaccine and providing incentives to take the vaccine is really just the next step in that process.
In Knoll, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
In addition to providing vaccines at their plants, Tyson also supplies their employees with access to extra information about the vaccine as well. A bit later, increasing confidence in those vaccines.
You've heard of a social media influencer, but how about a vaccine influencer? I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on the latest campaign to help convince skeptics to get the shot. That's coming up.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a very warm day compared to what we have seen across the region. Temperatures fantastic for us today as we went into lower 70s. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. This is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but pretty much clear skies. We do have some clouds which have been increasing at least over the past couple hours. Check out this huge warm-up. We were minus 15 1 week ago today for a morning low, 73 for a high, so that is an 88-degree temperature swing in the past week, which is absolutely amazing that we are 90 degrees warmer than what we were just 1 week ago. Look at the climb. Last Sunday, a high of 5, high of 1 Monday, high of 13 Tuesday. Then we jumped into the 20s, then 30s, then 40s, 50s, 70s. Average high is 53 degrees, and it looks like we're going to continue to at least stay fairly nice over the next few days. 58 is where we stand in Joplin right now, 48 in Fort Scott, 51 in Neodesha, 64 in Grove, 53 in Monette. But these southerly winds are continuing to kick in, and that's going to keep our temperatures at least decent for us during the overnight hours tonight. We do have some clouds which are increasing. These will continue to increase as we have a weak little wave that is going to rotate through. Now, with this wave, we'll get some clouds and maybe a random shower, but it's a fast-moving wave, and that's really just about it, so it's not going to do much for us. Secondary wave building back to the Pacific Northwest, and that system will start to affect us by the time we head into Friday. But you can see the front rolls through in the morning, random shower or sprinkle, mainly along and south of Interstate 44, and then partly sunny skies. Temperatures are going to be quite a bit cooler tomorrow, but it's still not a bad day. 39 to start, 48 by noon, high temp of 52 degrees. As we go into Thursday, clouds will still be sticking around, but temperatures aren't going to be too bad as we make it into the mid to upper 40s. So at least we're not seeing any Arctic air across the region. Let's go into late Friday into early Saturday. A few showers late Friday into Friday night. This system passes by. Saturday looks great. Here comes another system. This is going to roll in late Sunday and Sunday night with chances for rain, and then again late Monday into Tuesday, rain possibly over to snow. So let's go 52 tomorrow, 48 Thursday, 53 on Friday, but Saturday 60 degrees. Good chances for rain Sunday, and then again late Monday into Tuesday.
Totally fine with 30s for a low at nighttime, just as long as it's not 30 below.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, Doug, thanks. All right, coming up in sports, the McCauley boys aiming to move on to the Class 1 District 7 championship. Plus, another huge offensive day for Pitt State baseball. Jacob Leonard has details next.
The McCauley Warriors have a chance to move on to the district championship tonight. McCauley is at home against the Hume Hornets in the Class 1 District 7 semifinals. The Warriors, fresh off a 22-point win over Northeast Vernon County in round 1. First quarter, Thomas Black gets to the rim for McCauley. Home team up 6 after 1. Black back to work in the second quarter, put back and the foul. Black gets 9 in the first half, Warriors up 5. A third quarter, Bryson Morrison gets it to go for the Hornets. Hume comes back to tie the game up. Warriors get that lead back, though, off the steal. Matthew Doman behind everybody for the score. 3-point game going to the fourth. Just a 1-point game here. Cable Reichardt, big three, gets the lead back to 4. Huge fourth quarter for McCallie. Warriors win at 55-40. They now have a chance to claim their first district title since 1991.
It would be enormous. It hasn't been done in a long time. And to bring one home for McCallie would be just absolutely awesome. Them having 4 coaches in 4 years, this is something that hasn't been done in a long time, and for these seniors to be able to have an opportunity to do that is fantastic.
The Carthage Tigers play their final home game of the season tonight. The Tigers welcome in the Webb City Cardinals. On the girls' side, it's the second meeting of the season between the two teams. Carthage won the first matchup by 19. Cardinals aim for back-to-back wins for the first time since December. First quarter, dish out to Kiana Yates at the top of the key. She knocks down the 3 ball. Tigers lead by 4. Then Yates to Brenna Ream. She gets the jumper to go, pushes the lead to 6. Second quarter, Webb City gets something going. J.D. Duda with the ball. Coast to coast for the lay-in. She finished with 19. Cards within 1. Then Ripley shanks in the paint and the foul. Webb City has a 1-point lead. Third quarter, though, pass to Haley Fullerton. She knocks it down from the left side. Carthage pulls away in this one. They win at 55-38. To the boys now, Webb City tries to get back to 500 in the COC. First quarter, quick ball movement to Luke Brummett in the paint. Easy 2, Cards up 3. Then Nikai Howard with the fadeaway jumper makes it 5-0 Webb City. Carthage responds. Pass goes cross court to Joel Pugh. Knocks it down, brings the Tigers within 4. To the second, though, Makai Gerard with the steal. He goes coast to coast. Webb City takes a 13-point lead into the break. Cards go on to get the win, 62-46. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas opened up the baseball season with a big offensive day on Monday. The Gorillas racked up 17 runs on 12 hits, beating Missouri Western 17-12. Pitt State right back on the field today with another MIAA opponent, hosting Northwest Missouri State. First inning, Blaine Ohlmeyer goes the other way, brings in Dawson Pomeroy, caps off a 6-run first for the Gorillas. Second inning, bases loaded for Tyler Henry. He delivers with a base hit to center, brings in 2. Pitt State 3 more in the second. To the third, Cruz Aranda pokes one through short. Garrett McGowan comes home. Offense big once again today for PSU. Mason Hartman, big swing here. Burns the dude out there and left. 2 more come in on that. Gorillas put up 20 today. They win at 20-2. They've scored 37 runs in their first 2 games. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
The Biden administration is targeting vaccine skeptics. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork looks at efforts to create vaccine influencers to help change people's minds about getting that COVID vaccine shot.
White House officials are launching a new campaign to adapt best practices in combating the spread of misinformation and fear surrounding COVID-19 vaccinations.
These conversations will focus on how to strengthen vaccine confidence and how to eliminate barriers that underserved communities are facing to vaccinations.
Authorities say vaccine skepticism is still the greatest in neighborhoods with high populations of African Americans and lower income households. From Monday's talks, officials say it's critical to outsource information to respected leaders in those communities. For instance, giving religious leaders the tools to influence favorable opinions about vaccines in their congregations.
We are relying on extraordinary collaboration in healthcare, houses of worship, social, political, sports, to extend our reach, to diversify our voices, to get messages to people who will listen.
Officials say it's also important people know the vaccine will still be there if they change their minds.
We need to have not just one opportunity for vaccination, but opportunities for people to say, maybe not today, but next week I might be ready.
New cases of COVID-19 have actually been declining in recent weeks, but health officials say vaccine rollouts must not lose steam, citing new variants that can easily destroy the work already done to combat the pandemic if herd immunity is not reached. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Going to check out a new movie about a jazz icon and civil rights activist when we come back. The movie The United States vs. Billie Holiday premieres Friday on Hulu. It's directed by Lee Daniels. It's a story about the singer's legacy and civil rights activism. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Billie, why you do the things you do?
Andra Day transforms for her first lead role in The United States vs. Billie Holiday and shared which part of her extensive prep proved most useful.
Beyond just the relationships with like Lee and Tasha, Google, I guess, proved to be the most useful, reading like every book that I could and everything. But there is a clip on YouTube where Billie Holiday is just sort of talking with her band. There were so many emotional moments in there and that were familiar to me. Some were very familiar and then some were really revelatory for me.
Directed by Lee Daniels, the film follows the jazz icon targeted by the government for performing her protest song Strange Fruit.
What I respect most about her was her determination and her ability to stand up to the government. She was just determined to do it her way. I don't think she looked at herself as we do, which is now a civil rights leader.
You've heard those lyrics.
Why was she really in trouble? It wasn't just about the drugs. It was about the song.
Black bodies swinging. And cast members shared the most surprising things they learned about Holiday from the film.
The degree to which the government after her and then her magnetism.
I didn't know that she was as political as she was. I just really thought this was an amazing singer with this iconic, unique sound that we never heard, who just had a drug problem.
I'd known the story obviously really well through my mother's performance and doing my own research, but I had no idea about Harry Anslinger and what he was trying to do in taking down Billie Holiday because of the words in her songs.
You think I'm gonna stop singing that song?
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with a video of beautiful flowers blooming in China. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.